70 years ago, when I entered seminary, I think a lot of you know I have a Master of Divinity, uh, and I was ordained in 1953 in the United Methodist Church. But that's when I graduated 70 years ago. A book that really grabbed me was by Martin Buber, I Thou. Many of you may know it. Great Jewish philosopher and theologian. And the whole notion was, am I going to connect with you as a thou, in a way, a sacred being, or am I going to connect with you as an it, an object? And for me, then that's been a guiding principle in my whole life. And the next year, when I was in Boston University, in my first tea groups, incidentally, simultaneously, I was being mentored by Howard Thurman, the great godfather of the civil rights movement and mentor of Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, who could ask for anything more? Let me give you a couple quotes from Thurman. Now, I'm going to repeat. So here's Martin Buber in my life. I, thou, I, it. How am I going to be with people? When we travel to Italy, we go I, thou. We go to deeply get to know people. We lived in Venice for 2 years and have been in one little town 13 times for a month. And when I was in Italian class, I would have people who were there 2 weeks who had seen more of Italy than I had in the 2+ years, because we focused on being what's called a temporary citizen, getting to really know the people. So much so that 4 of them visited us in Seattle. But so anyway, I went off track there, and I probably no quotes from Howard Thurman. One quote that really hit me. I remember early seeing him and seeing Howard Thurman and hearing him was an event itself, a mesmerizing event, as several of his 8 biographers have said. And I can remember him one day, he seemed like he was always struggling with us. It didn't seem like sermons, you know, the way you think of sermons. He would be going, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know which way to turn, but I take the leap. And always within me, there is the rumor that I may be wrong. And that's my growing edge. So that quote has enriched my life so much that in dialogue over the years, even recently with a cab driver who is very much for a certain presidential candidate who I think is, well, I have very little respect for, if much at all. But so I spent the time with the driver, asking him why he supported this person, what was important to him. I didn't challenge him. I just tried to learn from him. So across the years, the whole notion that always within me, there may be the rumor that I am wrong, means I can engage. And I hope the other person can pick up that kind of a sense too, that they may be wrong. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. And if they do, then we can really have dialogue. Otherwise, we're stuck. Another quote of his, which to me, I think I embodied in the Leos years and is to me deeply spiritual. There is something in each and every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine within. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you do not find it, you will, for the rest of your life, be on the end of strings that somebody else pulls. Mm. Now that's a Thurman one. And it's so rich for me. It's a lot like Robert Browning's poem, where Browning says, truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things, whate'er you may believe. There is an inmost center in us all where truth abides in fullness. And then he goes on in the poem, which I don't have here, to talk about opening up. But he says, you're not opening up to receive from somewhere. You're opening up so that your gifts can flow out to others, which, okay, so that's a quote of Thurman's that has driven me and therefore driven Leos.